Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 254, Kevin Doyle. How about the Grand National Roadster Show? GNRS. Here we go. Let's do it.
I kind of knew I was going to do trucks in 2023 with predominant history, groundbreaking and stuff. And then we go after those first. And I mean, some of them we find, some of them we don't. And it's always funny how we talk, what happened to some of these cars and trucks and stuff? Are they stashed away somewhere, or did they just disappear? Are they in a wrecking yard somewhere?
Damn, son. Seeing is believing, and our title sponsor, United Pacific, makes seeing a whole lot easier. The crispness of the United Pacific LED headlights, taillights, marker lights, and more makes seeing and showing your truck that much better. It's time to upgrade your old dim halogens for new LED headlights, taillights, and more. They offer the brightest and latest LED technology. Headlights are available up to 1,600 lumens, easy to install, and it fits right in the OEM housing. How about upgrading to sequential taillights? They're DOT approved and ready to ship today. DOT approved. And for you 73 to 80 GMC and Chevy square body guys, they've got the new front parking lights, LED with stainless steel bezel. Think UP Car Parts. That's upcarparts.com.
Let me tell you what Melba Toast is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-to-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 Truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
What's up, C10 Nation? Here we go. A little GNRS, Grand National Roadster Show. They've got a big event coming up February 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2023. It's right around the corner. Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for all of the support. We kind of had a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever the hell sale, and you guys definitely stepped it up. So we do appreciate the support, our biggest sale to date. So thank you guys so much. So Kevin Doyle, he's behind the Grand National Roadster Show, and he's teamed up with, specifically it sounds like Classic Truck Performance, Rob Fortier and the crew over there, and they're bringing classic trucks, classic haulers, 50 years of classic haulers, and they're going to focus on some of the trucks that were so pivotal, you know, over the last 50 years, some of the classics. So it ought to be a really good show. February 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Pomona. If you're thinking about it, you're in the area, get out there. If you're not, you want to enjoy some amazing weather, California weather, February 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Put it on your calendar. Come on out and check out some amazing trucks. So let's get right into it with Kevin Doyle and the Grand National Roadster Show. Here you go. Late. All right. What up, C10 Nation? We're back behind the mic. I've got Kevin Doyle from GNRS, the Grand National Roadster Show. Kevin, welcome to C10 Talk. Look forward to talking to you. A big event coming around the corner. Obviously, the Grand National Roadster Show is always a big truck show, event show, a car show, and it starts off the year out in beautiful California. Welcome to the pod, Kevin.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you guys have got a big event coming up here just around the corner. I do kind of look at the Grand National Roadster Show as the kickoff of the year. You guys are positioned right there. And why don't you just give us a little bit of history on the GNRS?
Well, this will be the 73rd year for it. The show started in Oakland. If people ever heard of the Oakland Roadster Show, that was never the official name. That was a nickname given to it, you know, but that's where it started. The first year was actually a sports car show. The promoter, Al Sloniker, back in 1949, decided to do one for sports cars, and he couldn't fill the building. So some of his buddies that had hot rods said, well, we'll bring our Roadsters and fill it up. Well, the Roadsters got more attention than the sports cars. So the next year he went, hey, wait a minute here. Maybe I have something. So he turned it into the National Roadster Show. And that's where the America's Most Beautiful Roadster trophy came from. That's where they started it then. And the sports cars went away, and it's been hot rods and customs and, ever since. So, but that's the one thing too, is the name of the show, Grand National Roadster Show, is misleading to a lot of people. They think, oh, well, it's just roadsters, just street rods or something like that. It's not. It's open to everything. And that's why we do the feature building that we do, to kind of feature on different types of vehicles. Like this year we had air-cooled VWs, and we had over 100 air-cooled VWs, some of them that hadn't been seen for 30, 35 years, that had been put away. So that's why we're doing the trucks too, because we trucks, muscle cars. We've got 16 really cool boats coming this year, from restored wood deck boats to blown fuel hydros and flat bottoms and wild candy paints, and it's going to be really cool. Lowriders, we got lots of lowriders. So that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, I think the variety is the key, right? You find that, even going back to 1949 and thinking, oh, well, it's a sports car venue, and then the Roadsters, you give people a little variety. I kind of say that with the C10. Sometimes we get to looking at the same stuff over and over, and you're like, well, what's this over here? And before you know it, you're looking at, a Volkswagen or a boat, and you're like,
right.
Wow, I really like what that guy did on this build. And then you get that blend where custom guys are saying, well, hey, I saw this on Charlie's Volkswagen. I saw this on, somebody's Dodge or whatever. And then they incorporate that into their build.
Oh, absolutely. Look at everything, and take something away from each car.
So where does Kevin come in? How long have you been with GNRS?
6-7 years, like that. I do all kinds of different things, kind of wear multiple hats, kind of head up the feature building, do some of the marketing, vendor sales, sponsor sales, whatever needs to be done. We're a small company. There's only 4 of us in the office, so everybody does multiple things.
Yeah, wear a few different hats, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I heard, I'm going to say either Rob Fortier from Classic Truck Performance or maybe Juan Trevino. One of those guys at some point reached out, and then you and I got in contact with one another, and they're like, hey, they're going to do something really cool for the truck world this year. Why don't you kind of run us back on how that all kind of evolved, how it started, and what you're thinking?
Well, yeah. So like I said, we had Volkswagens this year. We had Tri-5s a couple years ago, such. So we try to plan out years in ahead to get those historical ones. And, sometimes people need time to get them together. So I kind of knew I was going to do trucks in 2023, but I was talking to Rob Wednesday this year at the show and just mentioned it to him. And boy, he just lit up, and he goes, whatever we can do. Classic Truck Performance Magazine will be there to help you, whatever. So, and I've known Rob and his boss, Tim Foss, and stuff for a long, long, long time when they were with Street Rodder and Classic Truck Magazine and stuff. So, yeah, so we got together, and, they've been a big help doing social media and running the ads, and Rob's done some editorials. So they're going to be there and covering it, and it'll be good.
So I think as the idea and the concept evolves, you guys say, hey, let's do trucks. Let's focus on trucks for 2023. At that point, are you looking back at some of your history with the Tri-5s, the V-dubs, and saying, all right, we've got, a handful of people who've been in this scene for 20, 30, 40 years. What trucks do we pull for our featured indoor, get them into the Fairplex, get them inside? How does that kind of take shape?
Oh, absolutely. We generally have like a committee of people that are in that scene and ask them, hey, put a list together of what you think is predominant history, groundbreaking and stuff. And then we go after those first. And I mean, some of them we find, some of them we don't. And it's always funny how we talk, what happened to some of these cars and trucks and stuff? Are they stashed away somewhere, or did they just disappear? Are they in a wrecking yard somewhere?
Yeah.
So
yeah. That history
with one particular one we were looking for, called Country Butcher. It was a C10 square body step side built in the, I guess, late 70s. And it was yellow. It was blown. It was tubbed in the back. It was on the cover of Hot Rod magazine, Truckin magazine, every magazine. It was a big deal back then. And it just disappeared. And finally, we got word from somebody that knew him that the guy sold the truck. The guy that bought the truck, the engine was just too radical. It said it was a blown big block and stuff. So he pulled the motor out, put a small block in it, repainted the truck. And it's like, wow, doesn't look anything like what you bought. That history's gone.
Yeah. Completely changed the identity of that truck.
Yeah. And we'll get that every once in a while too. Hey, I've got what used to be such, and you're like, well, it's not it anymore. You completely redid it. That history's gone now. So.
Are you surprised at, it's more so in the OBS scene, the 88 to 98 scene. We're seeing a lot of those trucks that were somewhat quote unquote shelved. They were put in grandma's garage. They were put somewhere. And now these guys are like, wow, we're going to bring these back out. So you're seeing a lot of these trucks that have survived, and they are really untouched.
Absolutely. We've got, Alan Budnick's yellow truck is coming. And same thing. He's had it stuck away in his shop this whole time. The Boyd, the silver with the magenta graphics, the chopped one. There's another one that's coming. There's a purple one, and I don't know who built it originally, but it's a really Steve Stanford designed it. It's like a candy purple.
Yeah, we had him on OBS Talk. Was it Coy? Well, I'm trying to Coy.
Josiah Coy bought it.
Yeah,
and he recently just sold it to somebody else, but the new owner's bringing it.
Yeah. There's so many of those trucks out there, and it's so cool to kind of see those. One of the guys local here, NP built. He had one, the Financial Assault, that was built, and he had it here at Dino's. And so we're starting to see these trucks come around, and it's just crazy that they got so busy. Like even with Alan, we had him on the pod as well. And it's like, shit, the damn truck I'm so busy. I don't have time to do anything with it. It sits in the corner. And then we all kind of benefit from that because we get to see it in that somewhat original stage.
Right. And, we get, especially with the Volkswagens when we did it, we get a lot of the guys that had those cars stuck away. Life got in the way, maybe a business, family and stuff. And this gave them a reason to get the car back out. And we had a lot of them thank us. And someone was like, my son helped me get the car running again. And that was just a great experience. He'd never ridden in the car and stuff. And we got the same thing with the trucks that have been stuck away too. It's like, yeah, I've been meaning to get on it, but now I have a reason to. Yeah. And I have a deadline.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Right. And then depending on their stage of life, but it kind of revigorates that fire, and it just gets them going. And then, being behind the seat, being behind the wheel, there's just something magical about that. So hopefully some of these, some of them I could see being like, well, it might not be a driver out there, but I could tow it, or I'll get it shipped, or whatever I got to do to get it there.
Yeah. Well, and you say that, we've got one coming from Georgia that was it's a second gen C10 Blaze, started as a Blazer, but now it's a pickup, chopped. It was started by Little John Butera, finished by Boyd Coddington stuff. So the guy that owns it now is in Georgia, and he's already said, I'm coming. If I got to ship it, if I got to bring it myself, such as that. And there's a mini truck, because we're also, besides C10s and stuff, it's also Fords, mini trucks, some vans. And there's another thing, we got some vans coming that's got some history to them. But there's a mini truck coming that was built originally by Color Me Custom, if anybody remembers them. It was in Orange County. And back in the 80s, early 80s, this guy owns it now, is in New York. He just messaged me yesterday and he says, 2,900 miles one way, but I'll be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. And another guy who I just saw the other day is going to be there. And the truck is probably, to me, it's about the Dukes of Hazzard of C10s, is Project Copperhead, Stacy David, trucks. Yeah. He said, hey, I'm going out and I'm bringing Copperhead.
Stacy confirmed actually with me yesterday. He will be there, and he will be filming an episode of Gears at the show and with LMC, because him and LMC are real tight.
Yeah. What a great guy. That's
that.
Yeah, and that truck was huge. That truck, yeah. So now he doesn't own it, right?
He doesn't own it. The guy that owns it now is in Texas.
Yeah.
And So I got a hold of Stacy, and he says, yeah, here's the owner's name. And we contact him. The guy says, yeah, sure, you can, I'd love to have it. But I'm like, I want Stacy too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. That truck's 20 years old now.
Gosh,
And
I would almost think it's even older than that, to be honest with you.
And I think he said it was like 20 years old. But yeah, back then, you didn't build it the way that truck was built.
Yeah.
They didn't take them off the frames and go through everything. And it's got the very first crate 572 in it.
Yeah, I remember when they busted it out on the show, and that was just I think it used to be on Spike TV, and it was
Spike
Trucks.
TV, it was called Trucks at the time, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time. And we were all, sitting in front of the TV on Saturdays and Sundays, and that was our kind of the way what we did, and having that C10 and Copperhead, and so that'll be a fun one. Some other ones, what's some other trucks that you guys have been really working on getting there?
Well, we've got the Beltec splash truck, the Mark Oja, the recreation of.
Yep.
That'll be there. Red Rocker.
Mm-hmm.
You know that one?
I know that one. Yeah. Hills Hot Rods, right?
Yeah. And everything. I said the Blazer.
And I think Travis Nowak owned that for a while too. So Travis Nowak,
was the original. He was when he was the editor of Truckin at the time when it was built. So It was a Truckin project truck. Which, mentioning Truckin, I'm trying to get Steve Stillwell's family to bring his F100, because everybody knows Steve Stillwell, if it wasn't for him, trucks wouldn't be where they're at.
Oh, 100%, right? I mean, you think about Street Truck Magazine, and then
he started Street Truck. He started Truckin too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know his backstory.
I didn't know that he started Truckin.
Yeah, he worked for Tom McMullen, and it was him, R.K. Smith, who ended up being very big in Volkswagens, and then Brian Brennan, who's Rob Fortier's one of his bosses and was as big with Street Rodder. The three of them worked for Tom McMullen that started Street Rodder and Truckin and all them. And at the time they had what's called Street Chopper and Street Rodder. And they kept going to Street Rod events, and there was all these vans, custom vans, and they'd run stories on the Street Rodder on the vans. And they could tell them, says, we need to do a truck magazine. This is going to be big. And finally talked him into it. And I think Steve was the first editor, or he was the second editor, but he was influential in starting Truckin magazine, which then you had Mini Truckin magazine, you had Classic Trucks, that spun off. And then he left there and started Street Trucks.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that was the Bible, I mean, it was, you didn't miss an episode of Street Trucks. And, to think, and unfortunately for the audience, I believe it was last year he passed away.
Yeah.
Was it this year, 2022? We're at the end of the year. So bottom line,
maybe earlier this year or end of last year.
Yeah, you're right. I think it might have been earlier this year. It's hard. Time flies, but either way, that's cool that if you can get his family out, and obviously the truck. What about Courtney Holloway's? What about his truck?
I don't know what happened to it. I got to do a little research and find out what happened to it, because that'd be another good one, because I knew Courtney pretty well and everything. And last I knew his mom had it, but I'm not sure.
I wonder if Juan and those guys will know, because they do so much work. Yeah, they did so much work with it. I wonder about, is it David Neal? So he's out of, I'm just kind of looking on my phone real quick, but he is out of Illinois, and he built probably, Speed Barn David Neal, and he built, and now the truck, unfortunately, he might be able to get it there, but it's in Alaska. But
hey, we got ones coming from Canada.
Yeah, this one, I'm trying to find a good picture of it here, but you'll know it. It's chopped, slanted, 67, and
yellow.
Yep, yellow.
Yep, I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I love that truck. That was that's a very influential,
a lot of little bodywork changes done that you didn't notice at first.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That truck was so far ahead of its time, and David is a great guy. So yeah, you guys have got a lot. So some you've found and some you haven't, and it's been an adventure along the way.
We've done good, but there's been some that just disappeared. And, I said Juan Trevino's a great contact, and some others, and people are looking, and we put posts out on Facebook and Instagram, and through that, and either we get nothing or find out, well, it got scrapped or that kind of thing. The full-size trucks, there's more of those still around than the same mini trucks and vans, because a lot of them, you think of, I was heavily involved in the mini trucks in the 80s, and some of the friends that had the top show trucks, literally, I know a friend that sold one to a house painter and another one sold it to a gardener because it had no value to it anymore. That whole movement kind of went away, and that's all they could get for it. And then I'm sure they got beat to heck and scrapped.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy evolution. And again, going back to the ones that were lucky enough that got put over at the carport and covered up, or grandma's house, or in a storage unit, because it really depends on the phase of where you're at in your life, right? You think about the mini trucks, and somebody's, let's just say, maybe they're 18 to 22 and they spend a lot of their money. Well, life goes on, and then you get married, you have a kid, you get a job, you do this, and you're like, your wife or your significant others be like, do you really need that? We can't even fit the family in that anymore. And you're like, well, I don't have enough scrap. I don't have enough money to make that all happen. So what about Crew Cut? Is Crew Cut coming out? I think
we asked him, and it's in Florida, and he just said it's too far.
Yeah, that's a big haul. He's got a handful of trucks that we could, look at. He's definitely got he's got some really nice collectors.
Yeah, no, he does. But that's, Juan actually asked him, and that's what he said. He says it's just too far to haul it out, which, I get that.
Yeah. I'm assuming because Juan is such a big part of it that Pro Design, Mike, he's got the Suburban.
Will be there.
Okay.
Definitely. That's another one that, he'd had it in storage now for a couple of years. And I've known Mike actually before Pro Design started. We go way back. So it was like, okay, you got to do it. He said, all right.
Yeah.
And it made him get it out, clean it up, and he had it at Dino's and stuff. So where he probably wouldn't have if we didn't start this. So
and I think I just saw, and I don't know for sure, but I want to say somebody posted the crew cab that he did as well. So is that coming? And is that because he sold it? I think he wants it back.
And it's in.
I want to say it was Texas.
No, I think it's farther than that, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that, but no, it's not.
No. Yeah. Okay, for the audience, we're going to go back. I mean, of course, I've got the issue, but the cover of Classic Trucks, and Mike's got the crew cab, kind of a homage to the 50-year anniversary 68 colors, made a crew cab out of it. Not a lot of room in that back seat.
It was originally a crew cab. It was a forestry truck.
Well, we can agree to disagree. I'll have to look at it, because forestry trucks that were done by the and maybe he did, but forestry trucks in that generation, forestry, railroad, refinery, they were the ugliest form of a conversion, because what they would do is they would have like a double wing window, and they would make this huge thing. So when you see a true forestry, so maybe Mike got a hold of that and made it the way it needed to look, because that truck was at the point of me seeing it on the cover of Classic Trucks. It's like, it was, so well done, and it looked like how the factory would do it. But again, for the audience, crew cab, 68 anniversary style coloring. And then he's pulling Sublo, which is his shortened, shaved, chopped Suburban that he did have at Dino's last year. I didn't see it this year, but I didn't see a lot of this year because it was so busy. And then he's going to have Sublo at obviously this show too. So it's going to be fun. Has there been one or two that you really, really wanted and you did get? And then has there been some that you're just like, man, we tried so hard and we can't get this truck to we can't either find it or we can't get him to come? When you're looking for classic Chevy or GMC truck parts, BrothersTrucks.com is your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration parts. So whether you are restoring an original or looking to customize that classic truck, BrothersTrucks.com has thousands of the highest quality truck parts for you to choose from. So head over to BrothersTrucks.com and order your free catalog today. And don't forget to follow Brothers on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates and special offers too. Hey guys, are you thinking about swapping out your old motor for a more reliable LSLT-based power plant? We've got great news for you. PSI Conversion is offering our listeners 10% off your order. Behind each PSI harness, you get over 10 years of experience in the business, online tech support, phone support, and harnesses made in the U.S. That's psiconversion.com. And don't forget, use code C10TALK and save 10% today. You've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Don't forget the interior of your build. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. Whether you want a direct fit into the stock bezel or something custom. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. The new RTX series is really incredible. I think it stands for retro, but it should stand for rad. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. You can change the lighting colors, customize the reading in the message centers, and do it all from the mobile app. That's right, the HDX and RTX series have Bluetooth technology, so you can mess with them from your phone. I'm looking at RPM, trip odometer, percent fuel, oil pressure, and now I have the GPS set up. I can tell you direction, elevation, and even outside temp. Damn, son, it's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com. And you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook too. Has there been one or two that you really, really wanted and you did get? And then has there been some that you're just like, man, we tried so hard and we can't get this truck to we can't either find it or we can't get them to come?
Well, yeah, probably the most there was, I said, this Country Butcher square body step side was the one that everybody's, oh yeah, I remember, because I said it was on the cover of every magazine back in the late 70s, early 80s.
No, did Chaz, Chaz, his dad is used to be Lucky Some Bitch here in Phoenix. His dad, I feel like, was he part of that at all?
No,
the yellow
the truck was a local Southern California truck. The guy, it was called Country Butcher because the guy owned a butcher shop in Downey, California, such. So, and he had quite a few. Everything was yellow. Everything had a blower on it. Yeah.
I like it. I like his recipe. So you guys, another thing too to really add is it's full variety, right? There's going to be some Fords. There's going to be all generations of manufacturers, minis, any Dodges, any old school Dodges. Okay.
Yep. Dodges. The Dodges, Studebakers, Internationals, those are the hard ones to find. We just couldn't come up with much on that, but we do definitely. Got some great Fords. Chip Foose's F100 that was his dad's old shop truck.
Yep.
That was redone on overhauling and such. If anybody remembers the Centerline 56 Ford F100 that Tom Taylor, the artist, did, it was orange and silver. Been around. It was Centerline wheels truck for a while and such. Really cool. Couple really nice 56 F100s.
Fat fenders.
Lone Ranger. Do you remember knows what that is?
Which one was it?
It's called the Lone Ranger. It's a 69 F100, but basically the guy built a Bronco.
Yeah, two-wheel drive Bronco, and it's I think he even used some van doors is how he did the back, I think.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that is a stunning build. There's a couple. What's the guy's name? He's not on social media. I've actually interviewed him for SEMA a few years back, but is it Lake something? And he built a 6456 Chevy, and he's built a few really, really high-end C10s. And I want to say he's out of like Iowa, somewhere up there, and it's something Lake. I'm drawing a blank on.
You're talking about Roger Berman.
Yep.
At Lakeside Rod and Custom.
Yep. Yeah. Anything he's bringing, or do the owners build them or bring them?
He did some Dodges too, and we called him about any of the trucks, and he just said, "Yeah, I don't know where they're at."
Yeah, he did a crew cab right after he did the C10, the 6456. He did a crew cab the next year, and it's kind of a I could look that up because, we could probably track down the owner on that, but it's a crew cab swept line and it's like a root
Yeah.
beer color
He
and it's
actually
a
did
stunner.
a brown one. He did a blue one, both. And we had the owner's phone number, and I can't remember what the reasoning was. If the guy sold it, or some of them they're just not interested in coming.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you to the point now with the, let's just say, the inside featured spots? Are you to the point where you're like, hey, I just don't have time to chase down trucks anymore and I'm pretty
Pretty
full?
much.
Where are you at on that?
As of today, we're 60 days out because we'll start moving in today on Thursday of that
second.
So we're pretty much full. I mean, we have a wait list and we have some spots if something pops up that's really spectacular. But yeah, we're pretty much full. That's why we put the word out a year or so in advance to get, because we can't find everything. And so
well, and like you said, people, if you do find it, it's got to be a little frustrating where you're like, well, we found it and the guy can't get it done in time, or he doesn't want to bring it, and you're almost like, we need the transport fund together to get, help some of these guys out, because we don't know their situation. But I do like what you're saying. It's like, hey, we got behind these guys and gave them, 6 months to get these trucks going, and some of them take to it. Some of them are enjoying that process, and hopefully they all can make it.
Right. And a lot of them, like the guy with the mini truck coming from New York, he's going to ship the truck, but he's driving out with his son, and they're going to take a couple weeks and, go have a excursion and go, have a fun time.
Yeah, a little vacation. So, do you guys have anything specific planned for that time? So for the show, is it just going to be, you know what I mean? Like, say, for example, on Friday at 5:00, on Saturday at this time, we're going to present, this or that, or what are you guys going to do for the event, if you have anything planned, versus just the outside show? We'll get into the outside show here in a second, but I didn't know if you had any kind of itinerary ready to rock.
Not really, not as of right now. We're, no. So not that I can share as of right now.
Okay. Well, we can hold tight on that. And then, the outside, that's where, for our audience, you're going to have an outside show too. So just, you think about Pomona, you think about the Fairplex, you think about, it's a huge location. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
So it's called the Granddaddy Drive-In, and it's just what the name says. You come that morning, be it Friday, you can do all 3 days. You can do one day. You drive in, park, hang out, go look at the outside cars. There's vendors outside. There's go in all the different buildings and such, and see everything. And about 5:00 or so, go home, come back the next day. And we do give awards. They're all pick awards, like Classic Performance, Classic Truck Magazine, and sponsors will pick them, say McGuire's and such as that. So there is some awards given outside, but they're all pick awards. They're not judged. There's no classes or anything like that.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do, though, for the trucks, which is building 9, where they're going to be all around there. There's a road that runs up between that and building 7, and that'll be all covered. And as of right now, Relaxed Atmospheres saying they're going to bring 25 to 30 trucks. So they'll probably take that whole row. And then there's a big pad at the end of it where we'll park another 100 or more trucks. So they'll probably take 200 to 250 trucks just in that area. So.
What are you thinking from the perspective of the cap on that? I mean, let's say Saturday is the big day. What can you handle?
I think our biggest day there was like 1,200 outside. And we could probably get more now because we've moved the fence, because that's it, is when they show up and you're like, well, the fence is where it's at. We can't move it now. So we've expanded the ground some there. So I would say 1,500 at least.
Okay. So plenty of drive-in. Is there a fee for that drive-in?
Yes.
Okay.
Depending on if it's going to be one day or all 3 days and so. And basically the way it breaks down to is if you and it's for 2 people. So if you and a buddy walk through the gates and pay the entry fee for spectators and pay for parking, that's what you're paying to get into the drive-in, but you got your truck on the grounds. I'm not supposed to say this, but you could bring cooler,
chairs,
that kind of stuff.
bring all your stuff.
Chairs, and you're right there. And it says when it's time to leave, it's easy to get out. Just drive on out and you're having a good time.
Yeah, having a great time showing off your truck, and you're going to go to a truck show anyways, and you're probably going to pay. So for
Right.
one day, what are we looking at? Like $40?
One day, I think Saturday is 75. Yeah, because it's $30 per person, and then it's $17 for parking.
Okay. So one day is about how much for all three?
175. Hang on a second.
Okay. Yeah, just letting them know. So if you did 75 for one day, you get in, you get your truck, you get a passenger. You think about Good Guys. That's always what's fun about Good Guys is you're trying to get those free kid. That was a big thing for me when my kids were little, man. They wanted to go, and I just was happy to have my free kid passes and my 2 people pass to get in and drive through and get in.
Yeah, $60. Well, $60 for Sunday if you want to do just Sunday, 75 for Saturday, and then 175 for all 3 days.
Okay, so Friday doesn't have really an individual day.
We don't. Price. I mean, if you show up on Friday, we'll take care of it and such.
Yeah.
But
okay,
yeah.
All right, that's good. So Friday, you're gonna do all 3 days, anyways. Probably if you're showing up Friday. So that's Friday the 3rd, Saturday the 4th of February. Keep on trucking, keep it moving, keep it rocking, keeping it alive. There's food there. There's, like you said, it's going to be a fun time.
We got vendors. We got, McGuire's which is our presenting sponsor. You've got Scott's Hot Rods is going to be there. Roadster Shop will be there. Total cost involved, TCI. So, I mean, plenty of chassis. Beltec actually just yesterday confirmed that they will be there as a vendor, which it's their 40th anniversary next year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then Griot's Garage and just, you almost name it. And we got all kinds of manufacturers and vendors. And you said food vendors, and of course the sunglasses and beef jerky and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I like that. Sunglasses and beef jerky gives you the old, again, it's the Fairplex. So the other thing too is you're going to have a lot of just other classics, right? You're not just limiting it to the truck. So there's tons of other stuff to see.
Well, so to be where the truck building, the Keep on Trucking building they are all invited and it's non-comp. So they're not in competition at all. None of them are judged. But we do then have the other buildings that are all judged vehicles, which we probably got a good 50 or more trucks. Actually, one of the girls in the office that enters all the entries, she goes, "My God, we keep getting more and more trucks." And I think we got 2 or 3 just in the past couple of days, really good trucks. We got a Ranger that a guy just bought that was built back in Louisiana or something that is built like a street rod. I mean, it's got a small block Ford in it, and it's pretty incredible truck. And like we're saying, Terry Rose's Blazer, he's in competition because when I talked to him, I told him, he goes, "Oh, no, I want to be judged."
Yeah.
So,
he needs.
There's
to be
multiple
judged.
classes, and it breaks down by years, and like there's street rod classes, there are street machine classes, the truck classes are broken down by year, and then it goes by mild, semi, full, radical if it's chopped and such like that. So
yeah, and for the audience, Terry Rose twisted his 76 Jimmy that was just at SEMA. So you think about it, hey, I wasn't able to go to SEMA. We were trying to get him to get to the get down. This is going to be your shot. I'm like, dude, Terry, bring this damn thing out, get it out here to the West Coast so people can see it. So Terry Rose, we need to try to get a hold of Ricky Hawley. I can get a hold of him. Ricky Hawley just had a truck at SEMA as well and at Houston Autorama, brand new 1979 unibody. Ricky's built 3 trucks in the last 5 years that all.
Oh, that's the brown one, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a maroony. It's like a dark maroon and white unibody 79 that he built.
Now, is it a Blazer or was it a truck that?
It's a great question. So it is a Blazer and truck that he morphed together. So it's both because he's got a hard rear shell cab, but he unibodied the actual bedside. So when you look at it, it would be like a Blazer that's been capped.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. It's a 79, so you just don't see the seams. So some people, even when he was being judged at SEMA, somebody goes, well, what does the Uni 10 mean? Uni 10, and he's like, well, it's a unibody. And they're like, oh shit, we didn't even realize that. We're going to rejudge it. And you look, actually, I just posted a video on YouTube today, right before we went on to record this. So I'll send you the link. You can really get a good checkout. And then I'll reach out to Ricky too and say, hey, I don't know what you got to do, but you need to get this thing and get him in touch with you, because it is a stunner. And what a great problem to have, to so many beautiful trucks that are going to be there, going to be at the, this is the 75th for 23?
73rd.
Okay, 73rd. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's the first year of the square body. So the 73rd Grand National Roadster Show, Pomona, California, February 3rd, 4th, 5th. Obviously, Classic Truck Performance, McGuire's, LMC. You got some big heavy hitters, and it's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, it is. And some of the other things we do a pinstripers charity auction, where we get, I don't know how many pinstripers from all over the country come out, and they stripe panels and skateboard decks and you name it. And they'll stripe your laptop or your phone or anything on site, but they do these panels and stuff. And then we have an auction every day, a couple times a day, truthfully, and all the money goes to a charity and such.
Cool.
So we raised this year in 2022, it was Slave to Nothing was the charity, and it's a in and out charity. I think we raised over $200,000.
Holy shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've been doing a deal. Speedway Motors donates a couple pedal cars every year, and I give them to different painters to trick out and paint however they want to. And in the past, they would do, Pete Santini would do them and some other, and really cool paint jobs. Well, I gave one to Doug Jerger. He went overboard. He put a roof, it's a 55 Chevy, but he turned it into like a pro mod funny car looking. It had a parachute on it. It was wild. It went for $15,000. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's and that's the fun part of it, right? So people get to experience that. They get that culture, because that's one thing I think that I kind of associate with the GNRS is really the old school, that culture, that culture of that hot rodding that we might even tend to lose as we get further away from that, is that just kind of as a kid, that 70s and 80s automotive culture that you get to experience. Hey guys, I've got Joe Road, Classic Performance Products, CPP back. Joe, let's talk X10 spindles. Go.
Yeah, CPP's one of our most popular parts through the years has been our 2.5-inch drop modular spindles. Really popular part. Well, we've kind of taken that to the next step. We've emulated late model Corvette, Silverado, Chevy technology into our new X10 drop spindles. They use a steel hub, sealed bearing hub, really strong piece.
As you know, Joe, so many guys are building bigger trucks, bigger wheels, bigger brakes, everything bigger and better. Is this X10 something they should be considering?
Oh, absolutely. It's oversized bearings. Definitely great for a guy using big brakes, big wheels, which I'm sure all your guys are.
All right, guys, there you go. If you're looking to upgrade, you need a new spindle anyways, you're going to lower your truck, you're running a bigger wheel, a bigger brake, CPP's got it for you with their new X10 spindle. Joe, as always, thank you. CPP, classicperform.com. It's classicperform.com. Hey, guys, how about a happy 10-year anniversary to the team at Pro Performance? For 10 years, Travis and his team have provided their customers the best products on the market for our trucks. They sell Dakota Digital, Bear Brakes, Boyd Welding, QA1, Vintage Air, and more. They're your one-stop shop for all your truck part needs, stocking fast-moving items to help with production delays. So think Pro Performance when you are creating that parts list for your build. azproperformance.com. That's azproperformance.com. Hey guys, are you about that life? That air it out lifestyle? You know how good those laid out rides look, right? Well, AccuAir offers premium air suspension solutions for you and your ride. They have products in stock ready to ship, or you can buy from your favorite dealer. So give them a follow on social media for any product updates and anything new coming out in the future. AccuAir.com. It's that easy. AccuAir.com. Just kind of as a kid, that 70s and 80s automotive culture that you
right.
get to experience.
And that's the other thing is we have what's called the Suede Palace, which it's kind of a Quonset hut building. It's really old. And it's a step back in time. You go in there and it's like your 40s and 50s hot rods, and it's all traditional rods and custom. It's not rat rods. It's always, people think it's the rat rod building, and it's not. There are some nice cars in there, but they've got to meet a certain criteria of something that was built maybe the early 60s at the latest. And you get people in there that dress the era. They have music in there, and it's all that era. All the vendors that are in there are all that type of vendors and such. You're not going to find any billet in that building at all. So real popular. A lot of people really like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the building right across from where the trucks are going to be.
Well, and it's you think about that, you just get that vibe, and it's motivating, and it's motivating to be part of that and that culture. And
right.
I think there's even a social media page like Auto Cult. You just,
Yes.
it's old school. Sometimes it's black and white. Sometimes it's been upgraded, and you see a little bit of that, and you get that experience. So really, that's one thing that you guys get, that versatility with everything. You guys have so much variety at the show.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because we'll get people, well, how much time do I need to see everything? Depends on how much time you stop and look. But if you come in, we open on Saturday at 10 o'clock. You'd be hard pressed to see everything by, 7 o'clock or so, unless you just run through it.
Mm-hmm.
Such. So that's why a lot of people, they come for all 3 days. You stop and talk to somebody, and you get food and everything else. And next thing you know, man, it's 5 o'clock already, and I still haven't been into the other buildings.
Yeah. Well, and if you are, especially because we're truck people, and you want to, you're going to just look at, building 9, you're going to look at the premier trucks, and then you're like, well, I want to go look at all the other stuff. So you're going to, plan on what day is Friday or Sunday more popular?
That's hard to say, really. I think probably Friday might get a little bit bigger crowd. And I think a lot of that's because people think, oh, it's Friday, so it's going to be lighter because people are at work. But you got to look too, you got an older crowd. Some people are retired and such like that, or the ones that come from out of town, they're out for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's probably about the same, so I would, give yourself Friday or Saturday or Sunday or all 3 days, because you're going to want to go through all the buildings at least twice.
So as you're talking, and obviously just as a kid that kind of grew up in the 80s, the CK OBSs, there's a few that I wonder if you guys have reached out. There's that purple and white two-tone ZR1 that Boyd built.
Disappeared.
Okay.
So found it, at least because we Carpo, the guy that actually is the one that invites all the cars, he's the one who deals with the cars. He was very good friends with Boyd and with Boyd Jr. and Greg Coddington and stuff, and he kind of asked, hey, do you know where these trucks are? And
that one, I saw it in person at Battle in Bama 2 years ago. So I'll see what we can find out on that one.
Maybe it's around somewhere, but nobody knows.
Yeah, it was in, so that was in Alabama, and that was again 2 years ago. So it was looking really good. It looked like it was looking pristine. Kerry Bewley has the Project Indy truck. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. That's kind of a classic. Now this guy, great story. I'll send you the link on the pod, but he builds it he's like a 19-year-old kid. He builds it in 95, takes it to SEMA, and then he ends up selling it in 96. Then he buys it back. Then he sells it again, ends up years down the road in Mexico. And he has since, over the course of, 30 years, he ends up getting it back, went through just a ton of stress trying to figure out how to get this truck, gets the truck, and now he has it, and he's the owner of it again for the third time. Yeah, I'll send you a link on that too. I'm just looking at my notes. And then probably one of the most famous, if top 5 OBS trucks, is the Van Hauler. Any luck with getting anything?
Yeah, no. Mark Oja helped, looked into that too, and other people, and it went to auction here and went to auction there, and
it was I saw it at
different versions.
Yeah, I saw one of them at Barrett Jackson Scottsdale about 3 years ago, and then I couldn't believe it. I feel like it sold in the 20s, so I was surprised at that.
But no, that was actually OBS wise probably at the top of the list.
Yeah,
but either one of them. But yeah, everybody I talked to were like, no. And Mark even said, he goes, I think it's here. Let me check. And he even said, I can't get it anymore. So there again, we have come across sometimes guys have a well-known car in a private collection, and they don't even know the history. We had one of our Amber winners, America's Most Beautiful Roadster winners, we found, and it was like that. The guy bought it somewhere, and he goes, I thought it was a neat car. It's a what? It won what? Really? Huh. Didn't know that. Wow.
Wow.
So.
That is pretty crazy. Another one is called Game Over. Petrie built that one. I'll send you some stuff on that one to see if that truck is familiar. You do know that one, or you do not?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's in Cali. I think he's in Cali, but he still has it, and it needs to be back out, and he needs to get it out there. So I'll see if we can't connect the dots on that one. That one's again, it's probably hard because I think in the 88 to 98 stuff, they're still out there, and so I think depending on what form and what life they've taken, but a few of these ones, the ZR1 was, I would say it was mint. It was mint. So when you think about like the Boyd truck, it was he just had it out hey everybody, why is my alarm on my sorry about that.
I hear it.
Yeah, good, because it's my phone going off. Hopefully it didn't get in the recording. But yeah, he just had it out at Dino's, and you think about some of those are, they're just spectacular, and you don't know at what point does everybody get to see them. Do we get to see them at different different events? And as the more that these kind of get out, Chris brings it out, we get to see it, in person. And that was the first time I saw it in person, was at Dino's. So some of these trucks, the ZR1, the Van Hauler, there's a whole, and then obviously even, I wonder whatever did happen. I can't remember if I asked Mark this, but whatever happened to the original Beltec Splash truck?
They don't seem to know. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That's absurd.
Right. And Carpo said that helps us with all this. He is very familiar with that truck, and he goes, man, I could have sworn I saw it in my neighborhood. And he drove around, and he goes, it's just another turquoise one. But there again, could have gotten sold to a gardener or something, or a pool boy, and got beat to heck, and just it was a truck. So yeah, it's sad on those. Or it could be stuck away somewhere. There's a one, they're going to be in the drive-in, but I got a message from a lady in your area in Phoenix, actually. I can't remember her name, but she's got a black OBS standard cab and she's like, Boyd built this truck. Boy, I'm like, and I look at it, I go, it's a conversion that Boyd did when he would do them for Richard Hibbert Chevrolet and the different Chevy dealers and GMC dealers, typical smooth bumper, roll pan, Boyd wheels, and that kind of stuff. I told her, it's a cool truck, but it's not necessarily a special truck like the other ones we're talking about. So I go, bring it and put it in the drive-in. So they were probably the first drive-in entry we had.
Yeah, and people want to see that. So that's cool that the way you handled that. It's like, listen, there's a few Boyd builds, and there's some conversions that, their recipe was applied to a lot of those. So that's cool that you handled the way you did, and she's going to, he or she or the owner is going to come out and bring it out. And again, we get to all benefit from it by seeing it all.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I got a neighbor, and I don't know him. I got to try and find out who owns it and talk to him. He's got a early OBS that's just immaculate. It's lowered a little bit, got a roll pan on it. It's got the SS 454 wheels on it. He's got a cowl induction hood, but I mean, it's mint. And I'm like, wow, it's kind of cool seeing that out and about, which makes you wonder what happened to all those in the early 90s and mid that were driving all over, that you said turquoise and all the different colors. And I worked for Stillen for a while, and we did tons of those conversions.
Yeah. Well, and you think about like the yellows and the all the different the crazy colors that we see and that we loved, and whether they got painted over or they got put in the corner.
Well, so I was talking to the girl at Beltec yesterday and told her that the splash truck would be there and stuff. It says, you guys ought to reprint those posters.
I've mentioned that when Mark was at SEMA with that truck, I talked to Matt, who was at Beltec at the time. I'm like, you guys would kill it on the marketing. Print both of them. Print the dually. Print obviously the splash truck, the Phantom dually truck, which was the orange. The girls on the beach. They would kill it on the marketing that way.
They did so many posters back then. Rich Hedrick, which was their marketing director, he was good about that. They were coming out with an ad and a poster. It seems like every couple months and such. And but just the fact that the splash, even though it's not the original, but it'll still be there. It's 40th anniversary. Do a special with 40th anniversary hoses. Man, you'd sell out.
Yeah. And I think Auto Rev did some posters with Mark for a while. They had some. I'm not sure if they still have any more. Obviously, you can talk to Mark a little bit, or I can even reach out to him and see what their plan is with that series that Auto Rev did on the 3-part of that classic truck. And then Roadster Shop just gave them out at SEMA a little bit. They were trying to, and then SEMA kind of shut it down. But then they did it at Dino's, and I'm assuming that they will do the same thing for the
guys.
Yeah.
Good guys.
Yeah. So they have 3 different posters that they were giving out. And again, back to the marketing of it. And, my 20-year-old kid couldn't get in line and get a poster fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that truck will be there.
Yeah. And that was all of us, right? That was all of us 30 years ago when they were giving out hot chick posters with trucks on it and so on and so forth. The marketing is, the recipe's not that hard.
No.
Okay, well, anything else that we could throw out? Anything that we didn't hit that we want to make sure that the Gen Pop knows is obviously you can come on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. You come as a spectator. You can come as bring your truck and just have a really good time.
Yeah, I think pretty much. I mean, it's America's Most Beautiful Roadsters, our big award that started the show. So you got to make sure you go into Building 4 and see those cars. We also have another award called the Al Slonaker Memorial Award, which is named after Al Slonaker, the founder of the show. And that is for anything non-Roadster. And there's actually a Hot Rods by Dean there in Arizona is building I'm not sure if it's a 67, but that body style C10 to compete for that. And it's got trucks, it's got street rods, it's got a couple Mustangs, some custom. We accept 12 cars in it. It's a mix of them, and they are high-end cars. So we got to check that out. And this truck that they're doing is something. And actually, the guy that owns the truck also was the one who bought the El Diablo Ford. So he's hopefully going to bring that also.
Yeah, Big Willie built that, and then they what'd they do? They sold that at Barrett. Last year. What a stunner! So that was at Dino's 2 years ago. For the audience, they're like, "What? Talking about a Ford?" But it's a bump side, all red.
Yeah,
probably one of the most stunning bump sides you'll see.
Probably one of the best Fords of that body style for sure.
Yeah, that was an amazing build, and Big Willie does some awesome stuff. So that award is it called the Al Stonecker Award? Is that what it's called?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, the Memorial
Go to
Award.
Our website is rodshows.com. You can download the drive-in form. It gives you information on buying tickets. You can buy tickets online. You can sign up for the drive-in online, and it'll give you information on all the different awards and that kind of stuff. So.
And if you're out of state, which obviously, anybody listen to this, get online there. You can, they'll tell you where to get a hotel, where to get, everything's there because the Pomona itself is a big event too. So, the Pomona swap meet and then obviously this. So there's hotels all around there.
Yeah, there's hotels.
Fly in right into Ontario, right?
What's that?
You can fly right into Ontario, right?
Flying, yeah, and anybody tell them flying to Ontario, not LAX.
Yeah, do not go into LAX.
15 minutes away.
Well, and to let the cat out of the bag on my end, I've talked to Kevin about this. I'm supposed to be out of town, out of country. So I'm going to see what I can do about flying in on the Friday the 3rd late so I can be there Saturday and Sunday. But it's a good problem to have. I'm on vacation. I'm bummed about it, but we'll see if I can make it work and make it to the event. I look forward to it. Kevin, if there's nothing else, we're going to push everybody over to you, and this will drop next week. We love what you're doing. Love everything about it, really, and I'll do what I can to connect you with some of these different guys. And I know it's a little bit at the end here, wrapping things up. Some people might not be able to make the commitment, but it's going to be an awesome event.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us. Okay, thanks.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to 254, Kevin Doyle, GNRS, and I hope you dug the episode. You know what to do. Let us know how we're doing. Like it, love it. Let us know. Have a great week, and we'll probably be back one more time before Christmas. That's my goal, so we can get you one more episode before the end of the year. Christmas or after Christmas? I think we'll get it in before Christmas. All right, guys. Have a great week. Late.